Hey guys, GNT here, and today I want to talk about episode 4 of Titans season 3, and man, it's still good. I was thinking that the first 3 episodes were going to be the only good ones, like, we lured you in with these 3, now we go back to being crap. But it didn't happen. It was shocking. And today's episode is called Blackfire, and I was expecting this to be a full Starfire episode, or at least, more based around it, which we did get a lot of her, but, honestly, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it was like a half and half type of thing, because it was, you had 2 different plots going on at the same time. You had the whole Starfire and Blackfire thing, and also Beast Boy, and then on the other side, you had Nightwing and Scarecrow with a little Red Hood splashed in there. And that was your basic setup for this episode. So while you were watching, it just kept going back and forth between the two. When personally, I would have liked to have had, the whole episode to just be focusing on the whole Starfire thing, but I don't think they had much more to do with it for right now. Like, we're clearly gonna see more, because this was clearly a bad decision that happened in this episode, them, bringing Blackfire out of there. Clearly bad idea, unless they're gonna, decide to not go with the way that the actual character is, which is, a villain. They could, they could not go with that, and it'd be a little weird, but, it'd be different. Cause, goodness, I don't know, man. It's just, it feels dumb. It feels really dumb that you're just letting her out of there. So we'll see what happens with that probably next episode. I was assuming that, before I saw the title of this episode, I was assuming it was going to be more Red Hood stuff. But then I said, it's called Blackfire, so it's clearly not going to be a focus on Red Hood. And, it is what it is. No biggie. It's perfectly fine. The stuff you did get out of Red Hood was good. Goodness. Just a little all over the place, kind of like this episode. Because it was weird. I'm not a big fan of the whole bouncing back and forth between plots. Like, I think we should just work on one, then move on to the next. But it kind of worked. They would give you a break from the thing you're currently doing, but at the same time, it's like, I kind of want to see what's going on here. Like, 'cause both plots were interesting, which is a bit of a shocker. Like, both stories were actually interesting. Like, the whole Starfire thing was actually interesting. Like, she was communicating telepathically with her sister, who looks like a whole dude. Like, that was a rough chick, man. But, she was communicating telepathically, and they went and found her in some underground, I was gonna say lair, bunker. It was an underground laboratory. There we go. And they had one guy working there, which freaking makes no sense. Like, if you take this freaking alien that has the ability to basically just kill everybody, and you have one guy there, it doesn't make any sense at all. And the one guy is a bit of I was trying to think of a nice way to call somebody a pussy. He's a bit of a pussy. Like, dude has no backbone. He's not willing to die for the cause. And that's who you leave down there in charge. Like, this makes no sense. Why wouldn't you have, like, somebody there to guard the place? It's like, they'll never find this. Or at least that's probably the excuse they're gonna say. They thought nobody would ever find it. Okay, whatever. There's nobody tough down here. Nobody. This is the DC universe. They can clearly find somebody who could, be a guard. They could find some character that's, lethal to be an actual guard down there. But whatever. They just wanted to make a jokey thing, I think. At least that's what I'm assuming. It was supposed to be like a jokey type of thing. Scenario with this lame guard and stuff. Well, he wasn't the guard, but the lame guy in charge down there. And then the whole I'll burn your dick off thing. It was like, oh, okay. I don't know if it was supposed to be a gag or something, but I don't know. It just felt unnecessary. It was weird. I just think that they could have handled that situation a little bit better. Because, I mean, it works if you don't think about it. And that's like the worst thing to have in anything. Something that works if you don't think about it. Because as soon as you get done with it and you cut your brain back on, it's like, man, that was dumb. But it's whatever. It was fine. I can let that one minor thing go. Because the rest of it was pretty decent. And then at the very beginning, you know, you had Superboy trying to freaking clean off all the dang ash and stuff off his body. That was crazy. Like, Beast Boy's like, you've been cleaning for hours, man. Take a break. You know, because, of course, he's going to blame himself for not being able to do that in a timely fashion. But at the same time, it really isn't his fault. He could have had it done had Dawn not hit that trigger. Flip, I think her name is Dawn. I sometimes get a little confused on names. It is what it is. That's how I live my life. Like, names are not good for me. I forget names all the time. It is what it is. But yeah, I believe her name is Dawn. And if you don't make an extreme impact on me, I forget your name. So, it tells you just how much I've cared about her throughout all 3 of these seasons. But yeah, she pulled the freaking trigger, so technically it is her fault. But you know, Superboy's like, hey, if I was faster, you know, if I could have done better and got it done before you even hit that button, we wouldn't be in this situation, which is also true, but not his fault. He still could have made it. So, you're dealing with that, and she decides to go to Paris. I was wondering how they were gonna get her out of here. I was thinking maybe they give her a little prison time. I don't know. She like robbed a truck. I was thinking that would definitely be a little prison time, but then again, you know, they don't know her identity, I don't think. So she's fine. They just gotta get her out of there. So she's off to Paris, and I'm assuming off the show. Like, I don't think she'll be back for the rest of the season. I'm just assuming. I don't actually know because I don't look up stuff like some people do. They're like, oh, well, this character's going to be back on this episode and blah, 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 because I looked up what's happening with this. And I'm like, why? I don't want to look up anything. I don't want to know. If you're playing me, keep it on the low. Because, outside of like knowing that Red Hood was in this, I didn't know much of anything until I saw a dang poster. Poster ruined it for me. I was like, son of a gun. There are other characters on this poster. So I'm assuming they'll be back at some point in this season. It's unfortunate that I saw that poster, but it is what it is. So at least I didn't see the poster until after I watched like episode 3. So it's whatever. But yeah, they had her take off on a flight, and then we move on to good old Mr. Dick Grayson, and he ends up taking Scarecrow from the Flip. I was gonna say from the cops. Well, I guess they weren't actual cops, though. They were like guards, right? I don't know. They might have been cops. I wasn't paying that much attention. I think they were the police that were transferring him and not just guards. But who cares? He knocked them all out and took Scarecrow because Scarecrow had an attack in Arkham, and you know they were saying it was a hit by the Red Hood, and it was like, oh, well, that's pretty obvious. Like, clearly that's not gonna be the case like that. So, you know, the plan was to get him during transfer, and Dick Grayson knew that, so he took him, and he's like, hey, Red Hood's gonna come after you, and when he does, I'm gonna get him. And that pretty much sums up everything that happened with Dick Grayson's episode, outside of a couple of attempts from Scarecrow to try to get into his head, which didn't actually end up working. I was glad it didn't, because I was like, this is a grown man. There's no way you should be able to just get into his head like that, you know? It'd be one thing if it was Jason Todd, which clearly that's what happened with him. Got right into old boy's brain and messed with him. And here's the thing. I've been playing a little bit of Arkham Knight recently. I had forgot that that the whole Arkham Knight thing was with Scarecrow and Red Hood. I didn't even think about that. I was like, this has been done before, son of a gun. Cause the original Red Hood was, you know, a Lazarus Pit thing, right? And then they had the Arkham Knight game, which it was Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight working together to, you know, get Batman and junk. And it was like, huh. I had completely forgot about that because I hadn't played the game in so long. Completely forgotten about that. And here we are again, Red Hood and Scarecrow together once more. This is actually quite the good pairing. Shockingly enough, they are a decent duo. So you see right around the end of the episode, because I was about to say close to the end, but it was actually at the end. Red Hood shows up, Nightwing fights him. Pretty decent fight. I mean, that was like, I don't know what's been happening. I guess their budget is way better now because they've been doing great. That was a dope fight. Man, love to see me some Nightwing fighting somebody. It was great. Then Red Hood too. Ooh, good stuff. And Scarecrow ends up getting away, which was a weird thing because, like, I don't know, it was really weird because when you see the scene, Scarecrow like cuts the power, right? And then he tries to run and hits a force field and gets knocked out. And Nightwing and Red Hood begin to fight, and then the cops show up and shoot Nightwing. Genius, great idea. And then he goes back to the cabin, and you see the handcuffs on the chair. And I'm thinking, he wasn't handcuffed. Like he just cut the power. So why does it look like he's shocked to see that he's not in handcuffs? You know? Nah, I don't know. Maybe they'll explain that or something. Like, it seems like they were just trying to have a ending shot for the episode of his face looking shocked. But I don't know. It just didn't really make any sense to me. Again, it's another thing that you catch when you think about it. But yeah, that was pretty much the whole Nightwing story portion of the episode. Nightwing and Red Hood. And then you had the other portion where it's Starfire confronting her sister and them talking about some junk, being upset, and having a fist fight. Because inside the room, their powers were dampened. So, fist fight. It was alright. Nothing too big there. I'm assuming they blew all their budget on Nightwing and Red Hood for this episode. So they were like, oh, we can't have any more powers being thrown around. We already got this electricity going. Then they end up taking Blackfire out of the place, and that's the end of that arc. So overall, this episode was pretty good. I don't think it was as good as episode 3, but it was good, and I did enjoy it thoroughly. It's a good time, and they actually utilized Starfire. They didn't, you know, do anything crazy with her power-wise, but as far as her actually having some meaning in an episode, you got it here. And then you have Beast Boy, who's just being Beast Boy. He's been getting a lot of screen time. I'm hoping that he'll get some time actually using his powers and not just being a tiger, because I say it all the time, sick of him just being a tiger. Anywho, that's gonna do it for this. I don't think I have much else to say. It was fun. It's a good time. Can't wait to see what happens in episode 5. And I will see you guys next time. Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments down below. Peace out and have a great day.